Let's throw 2 minutes and 30 seconds up on the clock and start with really the one big result from last night in the NHL, and that was the playoff hopes for the Vegas Golden Knights taking a fairly significant blow. The Knights fall 5-1 on home ice to the Vancouver Canucks. Elias Pettersson has a monster night for the road team, picking up 4 points, 2 goals. Thatcher Demko slams the door shut with 33 saves, and you sit there, you look at the playoff situation now for the Golden Knights. If they wanted to catch one of those two teams in the Central for a wild card spot in Dallas and Nashville, that's tough because they're behind both of them and they have 3 less games played than both of those teams. If they wanted to catch LA or Edmonton, well, you can see the points percentage is not in their favor. They're also 4 points back of the Kings. They're 5 points back of the Oilers as well. You look at it, Mike, and it hasn't looked good for a while, but now it's getting to the point where I would go as far to say the Golden Knights are probably on their last life.
Well, very close to it. And here's what happens. They win 5 straight, you start to get hope, and then you realize really the mathematics are just against the Golden Knights. And they laid a big old Easter egg at center ice last night in Vegas, coming back into town against Vancouver. They weren't good enough start to finish. But I will caution people to think that Vegas is out of it completely, because if they can win 7 of their last 10 games, it gives them a chance. I'd put them at 96 points. Dallas still has to get points. Nashville still has to get points. I was on a Dallas team not many years ago in 2018 that we went on a tremendous fall off at the end of the season. I think we lost 8 straight games and we missed the playoffs. It can happen. And I do think that Vegas, aside from last night's game, has played better, but they don't have much of an easy path here, Tyler. They will be running into Calgary, Edmonton, Washington, Dallas, St. Louis. Vegas made the most of the easier part of their schedule towards when playoffs starts. Now it gets even harder. So it's a big mountain to climb, but I would not count them completely out of it just yet, Tyler.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the team; it's a talented group, even though they are banged up right now. And you mentioned their schedule ahead. Maybe one of their saving graces could be those head-to-head games. You mentioned it. They play Dallas. They play Edmonton.
Right.
Also, Edmonton's in action tonight against the LA Kings. So if you're Vegas and you're setting your sights on potentially catching the Oilers, you're probably rooting for the Kings tonight in that matchup and hoping they can take care of the Oilers in regulation time and not let that game bleed into overtime like it did last time the Oilers and Kings met. But you look at this lineup, and it's just the depth of this team was supposed to be such a big strong suit. And now with the injuries piling up, you look at this forward group and you kind of go like, ooh, it actually is fairly
Right.
underwhelming with all of the bodies they have out of the lineup.
Yeah, and a big reason is they're really just playing with 3 lines. And, Jake Lecision playing center on the 4th line. He's been up and down and played a lot of minutes within the lineup, but more or less it's 3 lines. The one thing that we didn't show here is the defensive core. They do have Braden McNabb back as well as Alec Martinez, and that's helped them the first 2, but they're still kind of finding their way. So again, Vegas there's the defensive pairings you can see now, McNabb and Martinez back in, but Vegas has got to win games here, Tyler. Bottom line, I think they have to win 7 or 8 out of 10 to have any chance, and that's just hoping for any of the teams ahead of them to also fall off at the same time. But it can happen.